We all know the New Orleans Saints made a major change to its offense this past week. Who knew we'd hardly get a chance to see that offense? I mean, how can you when they're only on the field for 16 minutes and 7 seconds? That's got to be some sort of record. Spoiler alert, it is. And speaking of spoiler alerts, we have some big news to share with you on this Mano E Monday morning. So let's waste no time. The Dattitude podcast, my friends, starts right now. And guess what? In my haste, I forgot to upload the intro. So we will just start it like this. You'll have to do without the intro. Many of you are probably wondering, what the hell are we doing? Why are we here? Why is it like this? Jim Derry, please tell me what's going on, and I will in just a moment. But I do want to talk first, very briefly, about the New Orleans Saints and just what we saw today, because, again, it is, I don't think we can understand, to put in historical context, what we saw yesterday in a 34-10 loss. When we talk about 16-7, remember the Mora days and the Peyton days when they prided themselves on time of possession and turnover ratio? To me, both of those coaches, one thing, Mora and Peyton didn't have a whole lot in common. One was a defensive mastermind. The other one was an offensive mastermind. Their personalities were, they were pretty different. But when you talk about it, the one thing that I think that those two had in common was their idea of, you know how you win a football game? You win it with time of possession, and you win it with turnover ratio. And the Saints, their turnover ratio, I don't even know what it was yesterday. Was it even, or they lost by 1, whatever it was? That doesn't matter. What does matter is time of possession. I had never heard of this before. I thought it was going to be an NFL record. Apparently, it's just only a franchise record. 16 minutes and 7 seconds. That's how long the Saints had the football yesterday. 16. Do you know how offensively bad your offensive line has to be for you to only have the ball for 16 minutes and 7 seconds? Pretty damn bad. Anyway, we're going to get to that this morning. What are we going to talk about here? Well, first, let me tell you that no matter what else happens today, no matter what happens going forward, when I tell you the big news, today is Dattitude, episode number 435, presented by Evangeline Securities for a Monday, November the 3rd, 2025. You know who I am. I am Jim Derry. That has not changed, but what has changed is something with this show. If you've looked at the logos, if you notice that the screen is ever so different, there's just something subtly different, and you can't tell what it is. You saw the front page. What's different about this front page? As I do this real quick and try to fix that on the air, it's probably not a good idea to try to fix. It's the other way. Hold on there, Skipper. We're gonna fix it. There we go. I think that's fixed. Anyway, if you look at the screen, what do you notice that's different about the screen here today? Can you tell anything that's different? Well, I'm going to tell you. On Friday, it's so interesting how things work. We had our show this past week on Thursday. It was planned that way for a long time. Got a message from my superiors at NOLA.com that we're going to have a meeting on Friday morning. You're always worried in this business when you have a meeting scheduled that is out of the blue. It wasn't my year-end meeting. I was not handed a form that I usually get at the end of the year to, say what I think went well, say what I think went bad, and all those sorts of things. So you always worry when you get those calendar request, and I got one of those for Friday. Again, I'd already planned the show on Thursday. It wasn't anything. This is not why the show was on Thursday or anything like that. It just so happened to be that way. When I met with my boss, I was told that my position was being eliminated at the Times-Picayune and NOLA.com. And I will say this: I have nothing negative to say about my now past employer. This is the fourth time, count them 4 times. That's right, 4 times. It's the 4th time I have been released by this same company, although it's the second time by this owner, the fourth time overall that I've been released, and it's going to be the last. So here's what's going to happen going forward as I talk maybe just a little bit more about my release and more about what's going forward. I don't look at this as a bad thing because they have graciously, and I mean that 100% graciously, allowed me to keep control of my Dattitude YouTube page, the page that we, not me, not just me, you, Gabe, all of us have grown over the course of the past 19 months. We started the page from basically nothing. We took over the old Bayou Bets page, and when we took it over, it had 200 subscribers. Today it has, as of this morning, I believe it had 1,275. So we did that in 19 months. And that doesn't sound like a lot to you, but it's the start of where I want us to go. So we have not yet gotten control of that page. It's not able to be transferred that easily. We hope to have it by tomorrow. But I thought it was important that we did a show this morning. I thought it was important that we continue on as we normally would and have our Mano E Monday, because again, going forward, I don't plan for there to be a whole lot of change. I don't plan for you to notice a whole lot of changes. Put it that way. I am going forward with this show. Gabe is going to come along for the ride. We hope Uncle Big Nick's going to come along for the ride. We intend to have Mano E Monday. We intend to do our guest Wednesday. We intend to have our Pick'em Fridays during football season. And when the football season is over, we will continue on and do things the way we do things in the off season. And I will find a way to make this show work solo. I'm going to have to go out and sell this show a little bit more than I was before. I didn't really have the time to do it before, but now I have no choice. I'm going to go out and sell this show. We're going to have more sponsors. As of right now, Evangeline Securities is still with us. I hope and pray that they're able to do that. We are in talks right now, but today they are the title sponsor of this show. But I will tell you that going forward, I am going to need your help as much as possible to keep this show going, because I'm going to go out and do the best I can to sell to as many sponsors. We're going to have a sponsor for a Saints segment. We'll have a sponsor for a Pelican segment. Oh, that's going to be, you want to talk about tough sells. I just realized what I said out loud. How the hell are you going to sell that, Derry? I don't know. Man, if I could sell that, maybe I could channel my inner salesman. I think I was a salesman in my past life. I'm not sure. Anyway, so we're going to have plenty of opportunities for sponsorship. The good news is also that I will be able to monetize the YouTube page. I will be able to, remember how we've been talking about merch? Oh yeah, baby. Merch is coming. You see this right here? That was given to us by one of our beloved friends. That's right. We're gonna have merch. Rainy Cajun gave this to us. We've had some gifts to the show, and now we are going to go forward again. Starting today, we are on our own. All of us, we're all together, the Dat family, and I know you will stay with me. And again, I thought it was important to do a show on a Monday. So that is my major announcement. I am now solo. This show is really, and Gabe's with me, of course, and going to come along for the ride, and he's going to help. I can now make him an administrator again. He can help filter out the comments. Again, not today. We already have a rough patch here. I forgot to upload the intro. You'd think that would be important, right? Maybe I'll try to do it when you're talking to me later on, at least get the outro going here today. But so that's where we are. It's Dattitude with Jim Derry, and brought to you by Evangeline Securities. Hopefully brought to you by many more than just Evangeline Securities going forward. But again, let's do the show today as normal. And you know how we do that? We go to the comment stream. And I see that this YouTube thing is doing the same thing, Gabe. I don't know what's up with this thing, but it is, again, it's not names. It's weird. Brian, awesome day, Dat fam. Fire away, because he's just here for the carnage. We're going to have some carnage today. UBN says, can't wait for the clowns to show up. They'll be here. The clowns will always find us. We know that. Gary says, the tail of the tape, the Saints need a total rebuild and need to give the coaching staff several years to rebuild. I don't know, man. I can't. I can tell you this. You know, let's switch slides here. I know this. I don't know that I can deal with several years of what I saw I just don't know. Can we deal with several years of what we saw? A lot. Chad Gage, what else we got? What a peeps. Good day to you. Good day to you, my friend. And he says, Shough was Rattler to him. He was okay, which shows he definitely has more upside because this was his first ever start. It was a hard game to really see what he can do with the atrocious time of possession. I got to be honest, and I don't want this to sound the wrong way. So the Spencer Rattler lovers, who, and I'm sure there will be people here today that say, I can't wait to say I told you so. I told you last week it was coming. Especially with this first start. This is not a soft landing. This is a hard landing. I didn't think it would be this bad. And you look at his numbers, they look a lot like Rattler's numbers in the grand scheme of things. But we always talk about eye test. And I'm going to tell you, I thought the eye test, I got to say, it's hard to be impressed. And I'm like, whatever, Derry, whatever. Again, especially you Rattler lovers, but there were some things in there I saw that I liked. I thought he threw well on the move. I thought he made decisions faster than I expected, I guess. There were times when he just didn't have any time at all, just like Spencer. No different. So anyway, we need a much bigger sampler size, and we need to see him against a team where you knew it was going to be rough. I don't think we could know how rough it was, but again, you see the stat on the side of the screen. The rushing offense, 14 carries for 57 yards a team. That number has been going down every single week. It's really not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that different from what we have seen. It's worse. You can't have 14 carries for 57 yards ever. Forget the time of possession. I should have put that in there, and I didn't. Again, time of possession, 16 minutes and 7 seconds. I can't stress to you how horrible that is. That is a franchise record low. Think of all the horrible Saints teams that there have been in the history of this franchise. The horrible, awful Saints teams in the history of this franchise. That is an all-time Saints low. I believe I saw that Nick Underhill posted that it was the seventh, somewhere in the neighborhood of the seventh lowest ever in the history of the NFL. It was somewhere in the annals of lowest time of possession ever. Is it Shough's fault? I guess in part it is. You can't say he's not partially to blame. I'm not going to absolve him of any blame. You can't. But the offensive line was absolutely atrocious. Cesar Ruiz, I don't know what kind of future that dude has. Again, we're going to get to it. It's Mano E Monday. We're going to hear from y'all today. We'll talk about, if you want to talk about the major announcement as well, we'll talk about that, whatever you want to talk about. We got a lot of comments in the stream. In fact, I came in here before I show Williams' comment. I came in here, and I got to be honest, I didn't know if we would have 5 people watching the show, 100 people watching the show, 500 or somewhere in between. It's a lot more than I thought so far. It's early, but I'm so glad y'all found me. And again, going forward, we will be back on our regular YouTube page from now on. By the way, we will be streaming to Facebook and X live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday going forward. So this is the new platform. Probably won't use my own personal page except in cases where I have to. But today we thought it was necessary, and we did. Anyway, William, good morning. I know you're excited. Tell us first start was against the defense that allowed 3 points against the Ravens, 7 points against the Jags. The previous 2 weeks in a Rams team, they had the second most sacks in the entire NFL. Look, I'm not going to be an apologist for Tyler Shough. I'm just not. It's not fair. I wasn't an apologist for Spencer Rattler, so I'm not going to do it for Tyler Shough. I will just tell you what I saw in the eye test from my own eyes. And my own eyes tell me that there is something there. No way in hell anyone could tell from now, 6 quarters of football that he's played in the NFL in a regular season game, whether he's potentially the future quarterback. I still don't think the future of quarterback is on this roster. However, I did see some things yesterday that I liked. Just going to say. What else we got here? Good morning, Rob. Thanks for finding us. Yesterday was the first game you had to turn it off. Look, man, I got to be honest. There were times yesterday when I had it on the whole time, but I had it on in a 3-box where the Chiefs-Bills game was also on and the Jags-Raiders game was also on. And I definitely did not see every play. I'm just telling you. Brian S. Steve says, this team is tough to watch, but was expected. The defense can't stop anyone that's decent. Teams converting third downs have felt inevitable. This D has been almost as bad as the O. I can't agree with you there. I think the defense has been way worse than the offense. I mean, the offense has been way worse than the defense. Sorry. I think the defense did the best they could considering how much they were on the field. Were they good? No. I thought they were good against Tampa Bay. They weren't good yesterday, but they weren't terrible. When you give up 34 points, and I get it, the Rams probably could have scored more if they wanted. They went on a long, sustained drive as the second half started. But you can't just blame it all on the offense. Rocky, good morning. Tear it down. True rebuild. No half-step BS. O-line, wide receiver, tight end, cornerback, safety, linebacker. Maybe. Earl found us on Facebook. Gotcha. I'm not sure this is hey bro 63. I know. Oh, is that you, Lance Stobart? I see it's an L there. Happy miserable Monday, Jim and the Dattitudinals. Yeah. Earl says coaching is so bad. Some of these guys don't want to play. You see, I don't necessarily think it's that they don't want to play. Again, I'm going to go back. I'm going to say that look, has Kellen Moore done a good job? Absolutely not. Done a terrible job so far. I mean, honestly, he really has. I think the way he handled just about, I don't know that he's handled really anything right. However, I don't think it's what are they? 1-8, 9 games into his career. It's too early for that. It's too early. It just is. It's too early. That's my opinion. Let's see what else we got here. Oh boy. Well, he found us. I'm glad you found us, Mark. Rattler showed us yesterday with his understudy as new starter who was the best quarterback in NOLA. Mark, I'm not going to say you're wrong because we don't know as far as who's the best quarterback. You're missing the point. And it brings up a good time to bring up what the point is about the quarterback situation. There's lots of points today. By the way, let me fix this on. We got all kinds of stuff going on today. I'm sorry if I'm doing this on live on the air. No, I shouldn't, but whatever. I'm going to say this about the quarterback situation. I'm going to repeat what I've been saying. Do I think that Tyler Shough is the future answer at quarterback for this football team? The answer is probably not, but we don't know. But when you talk about Spencer Rattler, again, not trying to be mean, but we do know. We have seen a large enough sample size. 1 in 13 is a large enough sample size. I'm not just saying it because that's his record. You can't count his record, whatever. His record is whatever his record is. It's not just because his record is that. I think the eye test tells us. The eye test tells us that Spencer Rattler is not the future quarterback of this team. Can he be a backup quarterback? I think he absolutely can. And I got to be honest, that's better than I thought before. But he is not the answer, and you need to find out if Shough's the answer, and that's where we are today. I'm certain going forward that we're going to have more of these kind of comments. Just saying, it's going to happen. Let's see. Brian says Brian's going to be pissed for me. Yeah, I'm not mad, y'all. I know. Look, I'm going to be OCD today. I'm just telling you, I'll be all over the place. I'm not mad. I'm really not. And I'm not just saying this because I can't say anything and I won't say anything about my former employer. I am grateful. 35 years. How many people get to look? And, you know, if you subtract the time that I've been gone, and okay, maybe it's 34 years. You know, the time that I was gone and then came back. But I've spent 34 years of my life working for one employer through 2 different owners. I have nothing negative to say about them. They've been my life. They've all I've known my entire life. Now I'm going to find out what it's like to go out on my own. I'm not mad at them. It's a business. And one thing I've learned, was I mad the first time? Absolutely. I almost burned a bridge and never got a chance to come back because, I was pretty pissed in the first one back in 2012. Got handed that envelope. I mean, of course you think that you don't, you're not valued enough. I mean, anyone would think that. Or you would hope they would think that. But as I've gone through and the last 13 years have matured me, and why it's a shame that it's taken this long to mature me, so to speak. But the last 13 years, I've learned a lot about not just myself, but I've learned a lot about what the business world is like. And when too often times you are a number and not a person. And I understand that. It doesn't even, it hurt my feelings for about an hour. And I'm being dead serious. It hurt my feelings for about an hour. And then I started thinking about the future and started making phone calls and realized that I have more support behind me today than I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, Gabe's here with me right now. I've had phone calls, and I'm not going to mention too many names right now because the names will be known later. But I talked to a lot of people on Friday and Saturday, and I've had more support from people that I didn't know that I would have support from. There are people that I didn't even know not that long ago that want to support me. It's like William says. It's true. When one door closes, God opens another. I'll do well going forward. You have to believe in yourself. And I do believe in myself. Earl's rolling with me. Lance is here. Been there, done that. When one door closes, another one opens. Chad's going to help. Rocky says, Saints need. Yeah, I love you, Rock. He wants me to apply. Randy Cajun's here. He's got my back. Kyle Sherman has definitely got my back. Kyle's actually someone, and again, I'm not going to do a lot of name dropping here, but I reached out to. Kyle was a person that I actually reached out to, and we've kind of talked behind the scenes. We're going to find a way to make this work. It is. Again, exciting start to a new adventure. Absolutely is. David +1's here. Keep grinding. I'm going to keep grinding. I promise you. Even if we're still on StreamYard and it's still doing some of the same old weird things. There it is. Jules Howard is here this morning. I know you told me you're going to find me on Facebook, and you did. Good morning from Maryland. You are absolutely a part of the Dat family, my friend. Welcome. All right, enough talk about me. Bart Moore is a stupid bleepity bleeper who doesn't know how to use Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill should have stayed in that game no matter what. This team is the worst I've ever seen since the bag days. I get your frustration, Bart, and here's why I'm going to disagree with you. First of all, as you see the stats, Taysom Hill definitely had his best day since coming back from the injury. 4 carries for 30 yards, and a bigger part of it. I thought he was used quite finely. You got to remember, Bart, I know Saints fans don't want to hear this, especially the longtime Saints fans, the people who have biases for certain players. I get the love for Taysom Hill. 100% I do. I feel the same way. But realistically, Taysom Hill's not a future part. Is not part of the future of this football team. No matter who the coach is. I mean, realistically, he's 35 years old. He looked a lot like his old self yesterday. I'll give him that. And it's amazing. That dude is a freak of nature. But going forward, as this team rebuilds, do you really think Taysom Hill is a part of the future? Let's get realistic. Lance, now that's you. Who dat, baby? I'm just saying. You got to think about what's right. I mean, is Cam Jordan a future of this team? No. Is Demario Davis a part of the future of this team? No. I mean, you have to concentrate more on who the potential future is for this team. It's not Taysom Hill. As much as you love Taysom, it's definitely not Alvin Kamara. By the way, Alvin Kamara, do that dude a favor. Please, for the love of God, trade him so he can end his career somewhere where he can win and care. Cecil Evans, keep on keeping on, JD. I know y'all will be here for me. I appreciate it. Let's see what else we got here. Charles Mangus, I don't know if I showed one of yours or not. I apologize if I hadn't. 16 minutes is all the time we had in the game. That's the lowest of the low in Saints history. It is. That's hard to believe. Again, history of this franchise. 16 minutes and 7 seconds. That's crazy. Apathy says this team has become so bad that even the Cajun Cannon is calling out management on point after the show. Did he? I didn't have it. I couldn't listen to it. I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. By the way, there is no dime today. I know that a lot of y'all come here on Mondays, and for those of you who don't know what Derry's Dime is, it is my my weekly commentary. It's the only part of the show that is scripted, but I don't have anything scripted for today. Today is an unscripted show. We just had to put it together, and I'm just glad we could get on the air. So we do not have a Derry's Dime today. I don't have. You're not going to hear from Kellen Moore. You're not going to hear from Tyler Shough. We'll get back to that next. I promise you, by next Monday, everything will be normal, except we won't be on any of the NOLA Facebook pages anymore. But the new normal is we'll be on our own Facebook page. By the way, follow me on Facebook. Follow me on X. The shows will be live on those places as well, at least for now. Eventually, I want to just be on YouTube. I'm not there yet. Edwin says, if I build it, they will come. Y'all are with me. I know y'all are with me. What else we got here this morning as I start moving on with the rest of the show? Mark says that Loomis doesn't sleep. He's running 2 franchises at once. He deserves a raise. Let's see, that's just trolling. Mark, you just trolling. You don't really believe Loomis deserves a raise. I did not make a Pelican slide this morning. I meant to. I ran out of time. But 0-6, man. At one point yesterday, I looked. In fact, let me call it up. I got to call this up because I don't want to screw this up from yesterday. Scores. The Saints lost 34-10. We know that. But let's see. Where is it? Pelicans. 0-6. The Pelicans lost to the Thunder. I wanted to get this score right. 137-106. Man. We told you the first part of the schedule was going to be rough, but I didn't think they would go on 0-6. More of that again coming up. The Thunder, as Gabe says, was about 2 of their big 3 as well. By the way, Gabe will be on in a little while, too. In fact, when I get to the LSU portion, I may bring Gabe on. Kyle says you can't coach height and arm talent. Hopefully he keeps growing, more upside than rat. 100%. I know some of you don't believe it, and it's just one game, and I don't want to hear I told you so because it's one game, and nobody can tell you anything from one game. No one. But there were a lot of things I saw. Again, honestly, there were, from Shough himself, there were probably more positives than negatives. I know that's hard to believe when you lose 34-10 and you only had the ball for 16 minutes. But from the Shough, so I didn't realize how well he could throw the ball on the move. And Lord knows, for any quarterback to be successful with this O-line, he's going to have to be able to throw well on the move. Woo! Will that continue? It gets easier next week. Saints only 5.5-point dogs at Carolina. The Carolina team that beat the Green Bay Packers yesterday knocked a lot of people out of knockout pools. Not me. I was appreciative of the Panthers yesterday. Zach Ewing tells me that I'm completely wrong when I say the Saints don't have a chance to win next week and that I should use, I'm thinking I should use Carolina and knockout, and he's telling me not to. I don't know. What do y'all think? Again, we'll get to that later in the week. I don't know. S. Callie, good morning. You are here and will always support this show. I know you will. You are a huge part of the Dat family. Jason Benson, it was hard to find me today. I know. We will make it so it's not hard to find me in the near future. I promise. We will be back on our own YouTube page on, I hope, Wednesday, if not Wednesday by Friday. Mitch Bergeron. Loomis has been leading us to this point for years. I knew it was coming, but it's more painful than I thought it would be. You know how I have been not eager to put so much of a huge blame on Loomis? Look, man, not today. I can't argue with anybody who's like pissed off about Loomis today, because this team, the headline, and if you're listening to the podcast after the fact, because of course we're going to be where we always are after the fact, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. The headline reads, "Is this as bad as it gets?" I don't know how it could get much worse. It can't get it worse than 34-10 a week after you score 3 points, you score 10, and you only have the ball for 16 minutes. Can it get worse than that? I mean, I guess the answer is that it can. I guess. All right, before we go forward, let me tell you about our friends at Evangeline Securities, and they are definitely our friends. I've talked to Nick a lot over the past few days. They are super friends. We thank them so much. Of course, they are a company that can help you decide if it's the right time to sell your family-run or privately held business. And just as importantly, they can help figure out what that business is worth. That's you or someone you know. It's time to reach out to Evangeline's founding and managing partners, Nick Braden and Ron Hemel. They will start by scheduling a complimentary valuation from their offices, either on Poydras Street or in Lafayette. From there, you will be well informed and begin to make the decision on if you want to proceed. What happens after that? We'll fill you more later in the show. In the meantime, you can check out our friends at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Evangelisecurities.com. Say that 10 times fast. I dare you. CWOUSAR. And I am so sorry. I don't know what is going on with StreamYard and why it's only showing the it's not showing your username. It's only showing your whatever. You know what I mean. CWOUSAR. I wish I knew what your name was. I'm sure you're a regular. You made it with me for the ride. I apologize. And I'm not going to guess because when I guess, I'm wrong. So you can come back and tell me who you are. And then I'll know. I know Tom's here. Just think the Saints spells are bad too. Maybe Mrs. B should sell. Nah, you don't want that. You don't want her to sell. I'm telling you right now. You don't want any selling. Selling means they might move. You don't want that. I promise you. Airline drive is 1-14. Something is wrong with the top of the organization chart, Cecil Evans says. It ain't something's right. I can't disagree with you. Christopher Crump said, hope everybody's having a great Monday. Yes, we need to start from scratch. Let's see. How bad was my weekend this weekend? Well, it started Friday. I told you all about Friday. And then, well, daddy-daughter dance was great. So that was Saturday night. Had a great time with daddy-daughter dance. My picks went 0-3, like missed all of them just by a hair, but I missed them. What else happened? My fantasy team played against Drake London and Brock Bowers. How do you think that went? Yeah, pretty much you're right. What else? Oh, yeah, we had a tough time trying to figure out how to even get on the air. That was fun in itself, so that's a whole different story. Anyway, let's just say it wasn't a great weekend. But y'all are here. Chris says he hope everybody having a great Monday. Yes, I showed that one already. Jules says the play calling was atrocious. Doesn't matter who's starting at quarterback. I don't disagree. The play calling was not good. I can't say I hate that. I want to be able to disagree with some of y'all. I don't think I've really disagreed. I've only disagreed with a couple of Mark's just trolling. So of course I'm gonna disagree with Mark Satanovich. I disagreed with the Taysom Hill, and again, because he can't be the future of this team. Whatever. You know what I mean. Good morning, Dad. There you are. Is that who that daddy? Is that who that daddy? Good morning. After yesterday, you can't even say who that. Nah, you're still here. I'm telling you, it's going to get better. As Jim Ratcliffe says, it gets better, not just with me and the show. Just as a Saints fan, it gets better. See, we're all in the same boat. It's going to get better. I promise you. That's why I ask, is this as bad as it gets? Because if it's as bad as it gets, that means there's nowhere else to go but up now, right? I'm being serious. I'm not trying to be overly positive. I really think yesterday, when we look back on it, this is my prediction. My prediction is this is the nadir of this season. And if you're like, what kind of word is he using? He's from the West Bank. He doesn't use words like nadir, Nadir, nadir. It's the bottom. And I think that it is. Do I think the Saints are going to win? No, but next week. But I'll tell you this. I saw a lot of people all over social media yesterday posting about with the number one pick of the 2026 draft, the New Orleans Saints select. No, they're not going to have the number. The only way they're going to have the number one pick is if they trade up. I do not think the Saints are the worst team. And look, they looked like it yesterday. They're not the worst team in the NFL. I do think things start getting better after this. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show this. Put this slide up there for a reason. And if you can't see the show, if you're just listening, I put the schedule on the right-hand side, and there's a lot of L's there. There's a lot of red. There's lost 4 in a row to start the season, won a game, now they've lost 4 in a row and again. The bye week is after this one. There are games, and I don't think they're going to win this week, okay? I'm going to give you a spoiler alert. But you can't tell me that after the bye week, they're on games this team not only can win, I think will win. At the bare minimum, I think the Saints are better than the Jets. And I think they're better than Tennessee. Maybe they'll prove me wrong and they aren't. Maybe they won't win a game the rest of the year. I think they will win 2 games, maybe even 3. I mean, they're 1-8. So, by the way, they are officially eliminated. Gabe, 100% now. It's official. He does not have to buy a Saints jersey and wear it on the air. Even though he said 0.0, now it is officially 0.0. They cannot win 10 games this year. I mean, sorry, Lance. Sav is here. Keep telling it how it is. This show is the best. Looking forward to the merch. You're with me 100%. I know you are. Thank you, sir. Dude, that daddy's with me 100%. I should start a Patreon page after. Yeah, we'll look into all that, Earl. I'm not against doing anything. Gabe was talking about Twitch. I might start a Twitch page. Who knows? My friend Jimmy Wollaston is here with me. I know you are, my brother. You're always with me. Always get support. Even Slugger Humphrey's with me. I'm gonna give him another chance. That's what they say. Give him another chance. You're gonna give me another chance. I'm gonna give myself another chance as we try to move forward with some of the comments here. This morning, a lot of the same ones. Like Tom says, if you like today's podcast, hit the like. You can subscribe to my personal page if you like. Please, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. But and I didn't put this up there yet because we're not on our page right now. It will be. I will put this show up later on our regular page. It'll be recorded when they say it on the regular page. But go subscribe. Go find Dattitude with Jim Derry on YouTube. Subscribe to that page. That's what I need you to subscribe to if you want to be with me. That's where we're going to make the money. I promise. Moving on. I almost caught up here. How was dinner at Rocky and Carlos? Rob, you don't have to ask me that. It was absolutely fantastic as always. Had a great game last Thursday night. We had Chalmette Slidell, and when you say it came down to the wire, that's not doing it justice. It went into overtime. What a fantastic game. If you didn't see the highlights of it, I retweeted the highlights on my X page. You can check them out. But I had a lot of fun on Thursday. Maybe not so much on Friday. I don't know. Jason Benson says, if it weren't for bad times, good times would mean nothing. Keep my head up. My head's up, my friend. I promise. This is not just an act and a show. I am excited about the future. I really am. And I said that like to get, to tell people that we're going to be on a different platform this morning. And it's just this morning that we won't, I'm telling you, we will be back live. Next show, whenever the next show is, whether it's Wednesday or Friday, I'm not sure yet. It will be streamed on our regular Dattitude YouTube page, I promise. We're going to get that page. But I'm telling you, this is not an act. I am excited about the future. I really am. I wanted to kind of make a go of it on my own for a while now. I've been thinking about it for a while. And this is God's way of kicking me in the ass and saying, now's your chance. I can say what I want, do what I want. You know, I accidentally, Gabe made me throw out the F-bomb a few weeks ago. Little filth word, and I felt so bad about it. I didn't feel bad about it for me. I felt bad about it because I didn't want to embarrass my employer. Now I don't have to care. By the way, it has nothing to do with that. I don't think it does. I wasn't canned because it's a F word. I wasn't canned. Somebody asked me if I was canned because what I said about Jeff Lander the other day. No, none of that. The reason was, and I completely believe it, quote, my position has been eliminated. I wasn't the only one to go on Friday, by the way. I think about all the other people. Well, there wasn't a ton of people, but there were some others that went along with me, and I feel for them as well. I hope that they are able to find. Look, I've got support from you guys, okay, and you ladies. A lot of support, and I'm so thankful for it. I hope that they have the same kind of support. They might not. So, one of them is Norman Bell, who I haven't known very long, but I hope he lands on his feet as well. We're all going to land on our feet. So anyway, UBN's here. That's all I care about, right? Seriously. So I'm not just. It's not. This isn't an act. I'm very excited about the future. Mark Satanovich, the Saints can beat the Jets. I think they will beat the Jets. Larry Gibson says, I was totally against cleaning house, but after yesterday, I don't think it's the worst. What exactly does that mean anyway? And I'm a little stuffy this morning, if you can't tell. Exactly does that mean? Cleaning house. Does that mean cleaning house technically means getting rid of everybody. So, you're going to get rid of all 53 players that we're going to do? You can't do that. No, we're only going to. So, cleaning house means something different to everyone. It's going to be different. That being said, do they need to make massive changes? Of course they do. But they've already started to make massive changes. This is just the beginning. So, you have to. You have to. Adam Varner, Shough wasn't that bad. He barely had the ball. Yeah, he was probably a little better than I expected. Not good, but a little better than I expected. I see something there. I need to see it for the next 8 weeks, or at least the next 8 games. They have a bye week coming up, so really the next 9 weeks. What else we got this morning? Lance says, no, we will lose to all those teams unless Coach Gucci gets fired, Cam Ward gets hurt, and Aaron Glenn tanks. No. That's just, you're going the opposite. You can't do that. This is what you could do whatever you want, but here's my problem, okay? Don't be manic depressive when it comes to the Saints. Don't tell me they're going to win 10 games and then 6 weeks later you're going to tell me they're the worst team in the NFL. That's the worst, man. That is the worst. They are, you know what they are? They are who we are based in reality. They are who we thought they were. Sorry to the late Denny Green, who's going, I'm stealing his line, because it's true. They are who we thought they were. That's what the New Orleans Saints are. I probably would have predicted 2-7 at this point instead of 1-8. But they are who we thought they were. They're not worse. They're not better. They are who we thought they were. I know some of you pie in the sky people are having a real hard problem with this because they're just that bad. But they were that bad in week 1. I don't care if the score said they only lost 20-13. I don't care if the score says they lost 26-21 to a San Francisco team that was just banged up to the hill. They went to Seattle and got destroyed, kind of like Washington got destroyed last night. We didn't even talk about that. They went to Buffalo and looked a little better. Oh, it wasn't that bad. They only lost by 2 touchdowns. It was bad. They beat the Giants at home because the Giants gave them the ball 5 times. Go through the season. The Patriots game was way worse than that score indicates. They lost to the mediocre at best Bears by 12. They scored 3 points against the Bucs, and then yesterday. They are who we thought they were. If you've been listening to this show, that's who we thought they were. Come on. It's not different. It's not different. Does that mean they're going to go 1-16? They're not that bad. I know. Look, again, I'm going to say what I said before. I just don't think they're the worst team in the league. I think their chances of getting look, I'll go find that athletic thing we talked about last week where we told you the percentages of the Saints getting the first pick in the draft. I think last week it was something like, what was it again, like 17% or something like that? I wouldn't think it's going up much because they were so terrible yesterday. Probably going up a little bit. But the chances of them having the first pick in the draft, if I had to guess, I'd say somewhere around 20%. I think the Jets are worse than them. I think Tennessee's worse than them. And I think the Saints are going to find a way to win some other game that they probably shouldn't win. He's Tyler Shough it again. It has nothing to do with, well, it has a little bit to do with Tyler Shough. Very little, though. Look, that offensive line is atrocious. They can't run the ball. But you know what? I think they're going to figure some things out going forward. I don't know. Bart, back to me. I'm going to show it. Getting fired could be a blessing in disguise for the future. I 100% agree with that. Absolutely. Charles wants to know, did Slidell win? Yes, Slidell won in overtime. Again, what a game. With their backup quarterback. Cedric Bolo is here. One door closes, another one opens, my brother. Absolutely, it does. And again, you're here. Northern Saint is back. I wasn't going to show any more of your comments, but we haven't had a dumbass of the week in a while. Welcome, dumbass of the week. We're doing it on Monday because I don't know if there's going to be a show Wednesday. The dumbass of the week is here. The Northern Saint. It's all about me. The show's called Dattitude with Jim Derry. I know you probably have trouble reading. I get it. They have classes for that. If you can't read, I'll tell you what, I will get some links, put it in the description, and you can go find how to read. Dumbass of the week. We got to get a song. Don't you think? We got Uncle Big Nick's music. By the way, I have not transferred that over yet, so I can't play that yet. Don't worry, it'll be in there. Don't you think we need some music for the dumbass of the week, Gabe? We need confetti. We need all kinds of shit. Definitely. My friend Ronnie Loomis must go. That is not just look, he probably does need it. Look, I can't defend him. I'm not defending Mickey. I'm not defending anybody right now. I don't know that I can defend anybody with that organization right now. So I'm not saying you're wrong, Ronnie. David Ricard says, good luck. No doubt I'm going to succeed. Saints fan in DC. Looking forward to buying some Dattitude merch. We're going to figure out how to do it. I don't know how to do it yet, but it's going to happen. And I'm going to wear it on the show and find a way to sell it. Again, I don't know. We'll figure it out. What else we got? What else we got as we get closer here? Adam also says the play calling from Moore is a little worrisome. Really thought he had more offensive mind. He seems vanilla. Granted, you know why I'm not defending anybody. I promise you, this is not a defense, Adam. But I think part of it is this. I think part of it is he doesn't trust either one of his quarterbacks. So he's trying to kind of, and this is not the way that I mean it, but it's the way I'm going to put it. He's trying to dumb it down. Okay. The offense, the play calling you see, again, it hasn't been good, but the offense you see today is not the same offense you're going to see next year or the offense that you see a year from now when either Tyler Shough or some other quarterback they either draft or go get in free agency is going to be the quarterback. It's not the same one. Just say. Jules says, sorry to hear about my split with Nola. Keep my head up. My head's up. You know how you can help me keep my head up? You keep on coming and watching us. That's how you can keep my head up. All right. Again, I need to be. Yeah, Slugger says, you are not the dumbass of the week, my friend. You may be a dumbass, but you are not the dumbass of the week. You can only have one of those. All right. What else we got? I'm trying to get back to the fresh. Okay, you know what? Northern Saint, you're the dumbass of the week, and you are now the first person in post NOLA that I have ever banned from this show. You're gone. I'd like to say I'd miss you. I say I can't do it without you, but I can do it without him. We're going to do it without NOLA.com, and we're going to do it without the Northern Saint. Some kind of way. I promise you. All right. It's time to move on a little bit. We're gonna finish, as we always do, we're gonna finish the show with the Saints. We're going to give you a Monday Night Football prediction. We haven't changed anything again. But before we go further, because I want to talk about LSU briefly and very briefly Tulane. We told you earlier we're letting you know more about how Evangeline Securities can help you figure out what your family-run or privately held business might be worth and whether it's time to sell. How did they do it? That is the best question I've had all weekend. After their complimentary valuation of your company, if you decide to proceed, native New Orleanians Nick Braden, Ron Hemelt, and the folks at Evangeline, they'll begin an extensive auction process from among established private equity funds from around the world. Now, maximize the return for the founder and his or her family. Evangeline Securities is the top producer on their platform. There are very few companies like them in this area, and none, with their dedication and success. They are fully licensed and ready to serve you, so get in touch with Nick and Ron about what's really important. It's not what channel we're on. It's not what day we're on next. It's not about the Northern Saint and who's the dumbass of the week. No, you know what's really important? The rest of your life. You can find them at www.evangelinesecurities.com. Or, I didn't even talk about this, but I keep forgetting that I kept thinking that the deadline was next week. It's actually tomorrow. The trade deadline is tomorrow, and we're not even talking about it, but you wonder if we'll trade off any of the pieces. I don't know how we don't. So, yes, they're going to trade something. I don't know what. I think they have to. I don't know. So, yes, I do think the answer is that something gets traded. All right. He's still here. We're still here. Gabe Henderson, you went through this a year ago, and now I'm going through it. And guess what? We will survive.
Yes, we will.
Going forward, change, except I can go back to having you go through and maybe help out with the content a little bit, because before you had lost your administration. We can fix that. All right, let's talk about I want to talk about LSU here as they go forward. And I didn't, when I was typing in the stuff this morning, LSU a double-digit dog at Alabama on Saturday night. First time, and we had to look this up, first time since 2020 when they were like a 22-point dog or something.
No, 29 and a half.
It was 29 and a half. And they did not cover. They lost, I think it was
against the eventual national champs.
Yeah, Alabama. So they did not cover in that COVID year. Just your overall thoughts. Again, the headline is the first game post Kelly. How do you think this team is going to play this weekend?
I think they'll play inspired. I don't know if that will lead to success. I don't anticipate them covering. I don't know. I haven't given a great deal of thought to this game, but I think they'll play inspired. I think you're going to see better performances from some position groups. I think they're going to run the ball a lot more. So,
I think you haven't thought about this game, but it's a game where you always look forward to. It just kind of shows you the state of where this team is right now. But I am actually kind of excited about this game because I agree with you. I think they're going to play inspired. I think Frank Wilson's not going to let them roll over. I think there will be a sort of relief that Brian Kelly's gone. I think we may find out exactly. I find it super interesting that here we are 8 days after Brian Kelly was fired and we had the big show, Brian Kelly's fired or whatever. But 8 days later, I have not heard one person, not a single person, come to the defense of Brian. Please tell me if I'm wrong. Please tell me if you've heard it somewhere. I haven't heard one single person. Who?
There were a few players. One of LSU's quarterbacks, the one who was in the car crash, his name, Colin Hurley. Colin Hurley came to his defense, and he basically said, "You know what? I know a lot of people are having their say about Brian Kelly," and he's like, "But Brian Kelly was fantastic to me." That's the only person I think.
There you go. David +1 says Hurley did. I've never heard of him before. I mean, I should have probably, but I've never heard of him.
He was in a nasty car crash on campus preseason.
Okay, so one person has come to Brian Kelly's defense. It says a lot about where Brian Kelly was.
Not a lot of people like Brian Kelly, and to use Northern Saints' favorite word, Brian Kelly, kind of an asshole.
Kind of. Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking that. Look, I'm really looking forward to see how Garrett Nussmeier plays this weekend with that off of his back. And look, he can just go let himself be himself now.
Not only that off his back, he's had a week to just rest.
Yeah,
and that's the most important thing for him, I think.
All right, we'll talk more.
Play calling will be better. I think they'll run the ball. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little bit shorter show than usual. So, but I wanted to get you on, and I do want to. I'm not done with you yet, but I just wanted to tell you that we're gonna move on from this and talk more about this on either Wednesday or Friday. But were you surprised that? I guess you weren't. I know you weren't surprised, but 10.5. It seems like a lot of points.
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
If we can sit here and say that,
just don't think I know Alabama's just something about them. Just like I don't put them in the. I don't think they're a real national championship contender.
I think they are. I mean, I didn't think so at the beginning of the year. Have you looked at the gauntlet that they've had and successfully navigated?
Yeah, I guess.
They've beat, and I joked with my friends this weekend. I thought LSU might have snuck back in. I think LSU might have snuck back into the top 25 in the AP poll, just so they could give Alabama a ranked win. It didn't happen. But
I say no. That they're not gonna.
No, it was more of just a joke on.
They win this week, they'll be ranked again.
Well,
okay, so the Alabama, as always, LSU and Alabama both off this past weekend, but the week before that they barely beat South Carolina 29-22 on the road. The week before that they beat Tennessee pretty good 37-20. Remember they needed a miracle to beat Mizzou. They got it. Beat Vanderbilt.
No, they didn't need a miracle to beat Mizzou.
I thought they were.
No. They controlled that game for most of it.
Oh well, I'm gonna look. You know what?
They're out in front. Yeah, I watched that game.
Call that up. Let's call that up.
They were.
They both scored 7 in the fourth quarter. Player stats wise, Simpson was 23 of 31 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Missouri
threw a really bad pick to end that game.
Didn't he? He got hurt in that game.
Prebula?
Yeah. Didn't he get hurt?
I don't think he did.
Okay. Well, he
got hurt in the Vandy game.
Okay, 16 of 28 for 167, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks.
He didn't look great.
Yeah. Alabama, remember, lost to Florida State 31-17 in the opener. I mean, that seems like forever ago. Now those teams are going in completely different directions. So
yes, they are.
Alabama beat Georgia by 3. That was also in September. So I don't know. It's hard to compare a September game to now. But David says Bama quarterback's been better than expected. He's been better than expected because I don't think a lot of people even really knew who he was going into the season. So Earl says he's taking LSU at 10 plus 10.5. Why not? David also says if Nuss is really hurt, he needs to step aside. That's not going to happen. And I don't think he's really hurt.
It won't happen. To come full circle though and answer the question, I'm not surprised this is 10.5. Frank Wilson doesn't have a great coaching record. I know he's going to be coaching with his heart coach in LSU here.
Yeah.
At UTSA and McNeese, he wasn't great. They're going to a first-time play caller on offense. So no matter what you thought of Joe Sloan, there's so many factors in this that I'm
a huge Joe Sloan fan, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was.
We'll let that go.
The writing was on the wall ever since last season. And you know what? I'll say this: I've been maybe overly critical of some of the LSU offensive coordinators. I wasn't a huge fan of Mike Denbrock. I thought he was bailed out by Jaden Daniels a lot. I had a problem with his play calling. But
all right, real quickly, because look, Tulane was a major disappointment, not just because you were spot on about the pick. You had UTSA plus 6. I don't think you really thought UTSA was going to win, did you?
I didn't think they were going to win, but I wasn't. I believe I said
you weren't shocked that they won.
Just because they've now won 24 straight conference games at home. They for whatever reason, they're really good in the Alamo Dome.
Tulane has not played well the past few weeks, and I had a talk. I don't remember who it was saying they haven't played well all year and they beat Duke. Big deal. I disagree. I thought they played very well against Duke, and I thought they were. Zach. Yeah. Okay. I thought they played very well against Duke, and I think they were playing well until the last couple of weeks. But you can't. They just haven't been able to. They've been almost a no-show on the road, and that's just not good. And I saw someone say on social media, "Well, that someone who is very anti-John Summerall." I hate to tell y'all, this doesn't. If y'all are anti-John Summerall and y'all don't want him to be the next LSU, this has nothing to do with whether John Summerall is going to get a big gig. He's still going to get a big gig if he wants one when this season,
especially with Auburn opening up yesterday.
Exactly. So,
I will say on UT or on Tulane though, I don't think their playoff shot is officially gone. They are not going to get one.
They have as much of a chance to get to the playoffs as they did when you said you would wear a Saints jersey if the Saints won 10 games.
Yeah, I know.
The chances are still the same.
I mean, there is a path. They have to win out. They would beat Memphis. Yeah. They would have to make the conference title game, and they'd have to presumably beat South Florida in the conference title game. And if they do that, then I think they would be the G5 representative.
There's a path to me becoming a talking head on ESPN, but it's probably not going to happen.
Well, some of those spots aren't hard to get nowadays.
I don't even know if I would want that these days. Anyway, moving on before we let you go this morning. Monday Night Football, we've been pretty good, although I was stank. I was rank a stanker. I was wrong Thursday. I was wrong all weekend, but it was just, I think it was some kind of cloud that came over me. We are lifting that cloud, Gabe Henderson. Do you have any bets? Anything you like this week? Cardinals plus 3.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. And I know there are, because isn't this one of your picks?
This is one of my picks. This is my third pick. I'm going for 3-0 for a second consecutive week.
Okay.
And I have Cowboys minus 3.5.
Okay. Cowboys minus.
Did I get it 2.5 on Thursday? I might have.
Don't remember.
I don't remember either.
That means then you're super square.
That's true. That's fine. Even if this game goes poorly for me, I am I'm set for the week. Let's just say I have completely flipped the script on the picks and
Earl
my
says
place in the standings.
0.2% chance that he's given Tulane to make the playoff. UBN says that I'm Stephen A. Apathy says I would have to pay him to watch this Monday Night Football game. Why? I think it could be fun.
Oh, well, Jacoby Brissett's starting for the Cardinals. So.
Who cares? I'm going to say this. Here's my pick. I'm going to go. All right. So my square streak finally broke. My square streak did not work this week, and picking the Colts Steelers over, although it came pretty close there at the end. I only ended up losing it by a few. So I am going to
game.
Yeah.
Were you watching Red Zone on Sunday?
Yeah. Yep.
It felt. I don't know if
games.
I noticed this. It felt like the Steelers were perpetually in the red zone that game, but they never scored.
They were the whole game.
Scored.
Meanwhile, the Colts,
like anytime and I know this is kind of the point of the red zone, but anytime they cut to the Steelers, they were in the red zone and not doing anything with it.
100%. 100%. Here's my pick for tonight. I don't think I want to make it a best bet, but I am going to make it an official pick. I will bet this. I'm going to go against the grain. I like the under 53.5. I think I don't want to go out as far. I think it's too square to say that the Cowboys are going to cover. And I don't want to just, if I had to pick a side, I would pick the Cowboys. You can't bet on the Cardinals here, in my opinion. However, usually when a backup quarterback's in there, quite often mediocre teams are good teams. Their defense kind of follows suit. I think that the Cardinals defense isn't as bad as people think. And I think they're good enough to like make this kind of tough on the Cowboys. And I like the under. That's too many points. 53.5 is a lot for an NFL game.
So, I thought against Denver it made sense when it was 50.5. I think 53.5 is too much. Little fun fact: was
it really 6 turnovers for the Colts?
Yeah, Colts had a lot of turnovers.
I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, they were bad.
Danny Dimes turned back into Danny Dimes.
Some of them were a little fluky. I mean, he had batted balls at the line that got tipped up and picked, and some fumbles. They hardly. I think Jonathan Taylor had 8 carries in the first half. It was a typical Tomlin game.
Rob says, "Square or not, they pay the same. They most certainly do." This has been a square year.
It has been.
It's been a square year.
I will say about this little fun fact about the Cardinals: every loss they have has been by 1 score or fewer. Similar to the Texans as well.
Yep.
Every loss they've had is by 1 score.
Last question of the day before we move on and kind of wrap it up here. Charles wants to know who gets their next win. Who gets the next win first? Pelicans, of course.
Yeah. I mean, by nature of the fact that they play more games in a week.
Not only that, the Pelicans, we told you about their tough schedule. It does get a little bit easier. I think the end of this week, and if we have a show, whether it's Wednesday or whether it's Friday, I don't know right now whether our next show will be Wednesday or Friday. It will be one of those 2 days. And I will have a Pelican slide back up here, but just by sheer fact that, again, the Pelicans, if you want to look up the schedule real quick while we're on here before we let you go. And Apathy, who saw Cam's little 68-yard record-breaking field goal. I did. And I tell you what, he would have made that would have been good from 73. If
you know what's funny?
Go find it.
I was watching that game and I was like, how funny would it have been? Because he had a field goal at the death to send it to overtime. Yeah. I was like, how funny would it have been to have him miss the game-tying field goal as time expired after setting the record?
That
would have been very funny.
And I was thinking about that when he was kicking it, but he ended up making it. And real quick here the Pelicans schedule going forward. I think the Pelicans get their first win. I think it's tomorrow. They play the Hornets at home, 7 p.m. in the Smoothie King Center. Then they go back on the road. They play the Mavs and Spurs and Suns on the road. What a brutal stretch to start this game. I don't know who. I know, but like who decided that? That's just ridiculous. I know you say they all play.
When you're that bad, every game is going to be tough.
Then they come home and starting on Wednesday the 12th, they have a 5-game homestand against the Blazers, Lakers, Warriors, Thunder, and Nuggets.
Yeah, that's brutal.
That is insane.
That's also called being in the West.
You know what it's also called? I think it's called. They're going to have a good chance to run some off later. I think, although they might not care by then. Willie's going to be in trouble soon.
I think he's in trouble now.
Yeah, I think he's in a lot of trouble. Earl Russo says Sam Darnold doesn't choke in I know it's kind of disappointing, Earl. I mean, that's true. He didn't start choking until December last year. So,
and I will say this. I was speaking to some friends about this. And I mentioned this, funnily enough, it was my rant that set you over the top. The NFL really does have a quarterback development problem, and I think you're seeing that play out with guys like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, who have been successful later in their careers. Some with other teams, some not.
You know what I'll bring back?
And I will. So I'll read you a fun stat that I saw yesterday. I assume you saw the Bengals game.
How could you not?
Okay, so over the past 3 seasons, and this is a stat from Stuckey. Everyone in the betting community, most people know Stuckey. Over the past 3 seasons in the NFL, teams that score 38 points are 87, 6, and 2. The Bengals are 1-4.
Dude, the Bengals. I was watching.
That's unreal.
Like somebody was pointing out that they gave up 30-something points last week, and
it's the first time in NFL history a team has lost 2 games scoring 38 or more. Above.
Hey, but Joe Flacco, who was on my, I don't know if I've got Lamar Jackson, and I picked up Joe Flacco as a goof. I don't know if I can. I might have to play him. I mean, it's ridiculous. Right. They have to keep scoring like 40 points to even have a chance to win. I don't know. All right, Gabe, we will be back again either Wednesday or Friday. I will see you later this week. And I can't say, I'll say it publicly. You've always had my back. I appreciate it. And you help make the show tick. And I appreciate you coming along for the ride. And we're going to see what we can make of this thing going forward.
Yeah. I think I'll shout out all the commenters too. The support in the comments has been phenomenal.
It has been. I expect nothing less. But you know what? When you go on last minute and you don't know how you're going to go on and you have to figure a way to just go live to see how many people have found us today, it's pretty heartening. I'm just going to say that. It's pretty heartening. All right, I will see you later in the week, my friend.
Sounds good.
Right. Gabe Henderson, everybody. Man, Chad Gage. We love Gabe. Yep, absolutely. It's a lot of things. Talk about having support. Man, I've been talking to Gabe a lot this weekend, and it's always there. Probably going to be here for a while. I hope so. Jody Alexander says, here for the long haul. Well, thank you so much. We can't do it without you. Mark Gapsky, even though you're a Padres fan. No, I'm just kidding. Love the show. You follow us anywhere, not me. Follow us anywhere. Who Dat for life. Tulane City. We never talked about this, did we? I got to say, Mark, I love you and I thank you for following us, but I'm not a fan. I know I should. My wife told me I was crazy. That I should be. Maybe we'll talk about it later in the week. I'll bring a picture of it. my intention currently is I'd like to do a show Wednesday, but I got a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to figure out the long-term future of the show. And I will say this, that going forward, it's not my intention. We are going to do a Monday, Wednesday. We're going to go back to our regular Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In fact, we may do something else besides just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I've got a friend of mine who's interested in doing a show on the side, and we may. So we'll see. We have some things in the works, but this first week and then next week as well. I gotta be honest, I haven't had any time off and I'm a little overwhelmed right now. So we'll see if we do. I have a feeling we will do a show on Wednesday, but next week, remember I told you we were going to take off Wednesday and Friday and then Monday. I don't know that we're going to take off that much time, but I am going to take a couple days off next week when the Saints have their bye week. I don't know exactly what days. I don't know how we're going to work whatever we work, but I am going to take some time off next week. We'll figure. I may just take off. I don't know. Maybe I'll take off the Wednesday show and then the following Monday, and we'll still do whatever. Antoinette, where you can get a replay of today's show. You know what? When I'm done with this show, I am going to download it and I am going to post it. It will be on the regular Dattitude page. You can go watch the whole show again. I just have to download it and post it back up. I'm going to try to do some shorts. Again, now I'm definitely got to get into the shorts. And again, I plan to do merch. Mark Gapsky would rather a Tulane City edition helmet. That would make a great Christmas gift. I hear you. We'll see. All right. Again, a couple last words here before I go off the air. And I know, look, the Northern Saint, it's all about me. Well, it is a little bit about me today. It's a lot about all of us. Again, the support, and Malcolm Alonzo says, not going anywhere. Thank you for continuing the great show. Thank you. I'm going to say, seriously, I don't know that you can, that all of you, how you found me in such a short period of time. Again, I know I went and put a little note up on the regular YouTube stream, but I thought maybe 5 or 8 people would find me or whatever. I thought we'd have I got to be honest. Seriously, today I thought we'd have 15 or 20, maybe 25 viewers. We had a whole lot more than that today. A whole lot more. I don't know exactly how many. I'll get a number when I get off the air, but the support that y'all have shown me I can't tell you how much it's meant to me today. I'm an emotional dude, so I'm going to try not to get emotional here, but yeah, it's meant a lot for all of you people to find me. There are some regulars that aren't in here that I know will find us eventually. David +1 says, I got stalkers. Hey, you got to have stalkers. I mean, you don't have stalkers, you don't have a show. Charles Mangus, thank you so much. Tom, thank you so much. And again, we will be back. Just check out the regular YouTube page. Again, from here on out is my plan to regularly broadcast on our regular YouTube page, not my personal YouTube page, which it's fine that it's on there today. And I may end up putting shows on there too as well. We'll see. But the regular YouTube page, the one that we've been streaming to forever, the company has been very generous enough to tell me that they are going to transfer it over. They just haven't been able to yet. We're working on that. My Twitter page, which we couldn't do before, I'm so glad that we can now go back and go live on Twitter as we did before. X, I'm sorry. And then we will also be going live on, as I said, my Facebook page. So we're going to be doing all those things. Those 3 places you will be able to find us on a regular basis. And you can find out, click the little bell on the other page, on the regular Dattitude page. Click the little bell. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Click the little bell. You'll always know when we go on there live. Who knows? Maybe I don't know if we're going to keep we'll probably keep the 11 a.m. time slot. That seems to work for everybody, but maybe it's something we talk about in the future. I don't know. Sav says he's looking forward to the merch. Brian Esty says, looking forward to what's next. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being here. Let's see what else we got. UBN. I got to thank UBN. Of course, he's going to be here. That's what we need. We need more UBN segments. Yeah, probably. And then Chad says, thank you for entertaining us and keeping us informed. Luckily, we're at the founders. And of course, and UBN, you know what? Let's see how slow this thing is. You think I can actually do the outro and let's give it a chance. Let's see if we can do the outro here in live TV. I even know where it is. I don't even see it. Okay. Oh no, here it is. No, that's not it. You know what we can do though? We can like put this thing up, and then I can go out with some kind of. They have all kinds of weird songs on here, or like weird music notes or something. Where is it? Oh, it's applause. They have like this. Yeah, that's bad. I don't know what that is. And this is what it was like for me before we went on today. And then this is for the dumbass of the week. Oh, man. All right. That is going to do it for today. We will see you all either on Wednesday or on Friday. Again, thank you all so much for being a part of the show going forward. We can't wait to talk again when we're back on our regular home. And until then, take it easy, my friends.